It is now 85 seconds to midnight. This is the closest the world has ever been to midnight.
Last year, we warned that the world was perilously close to catastrophe and that countries needed to change course towards international cooperation and action on the most critical existential risks. Unfortunately, the opposite has happened. The last remaining treaty governing nuclear weapon stockpiles between the US and Russia expires next week. For the first time in over half a century, there will be nothing preventing a runaway nuclear arms race. We note with alarm the recent tragedies in Minnesota and the erosion of the constitutional rights of American citizens. History has shown that when governments become unaccountable to their own citizens, conflict and misery follow.
Yeah, conflict and misery. All right, Shalom. First thing first, I give all praises, honor, and glory that's due to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shah Bashem Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders at Great Millstone, those who rule well and who I learned this truth from. And salutation to the brothers stiffly pushing this one truth in all sincerity and diligence, risking both your lives and freedoms to doing so. Okay. And shalom to the rest of the elect as we all await the second Exodus coming quickly by the hands of Lord Yahweh Shah. This is your brother Kagabar. All right. And as you can see, they moved this doomsday clock up 4 seconds from last year. Okay, they pretty much advanced the clock 4 seconds from, last year. All right, and we know that each and every single one of these years, the Lord is hitting this place with more and more plagues. Okay, and ultimately, dealing with Esau, Edom. All right, I don't believe that the pride of them devils would really allow them to move that clock, where it truly should be. Okay, because scriptures say their inward thought is that their cities should continue forever. So Esau, man, in his mind, he's setting up AI, right? Robotics, okay, this fourth industrial revolution, because he wants to achieve some type of, artificial immortality. But whole time, the direction that this place is pointing is towards straight up destruction, man. straight up catastrophe. I mean, you got civil unrest, you got protests all across the globe. Okay, World War III is pretty much kicked off. Okay, Trump has moved the, I believe those warships. One of the warships, all right, is in striking range from to Iran, right? Not to mention they're speaking about these, another pandemic, So we got all these things taking place. Okay, which shows you that the destruction of this place is imminent. Okay, but still, nonetheless, whether or not Esau, moved the clock to a fucking second, before midnight, we know that the Lord has appointed bounds, all right, to where this devil, he can't pass, man. Okay, so it's still, nice to see the clock move, but I believe personally, Esau pride ain't gonna let him move that clock much further. Okay, but nonetheless, they said they moved it up 4 seconds since last year, which still is a major change. Okay, because from all the things that took place, in 2025 up until now, shows you that we're living in times of uncertainty. Okay, and to ultimately where the catastrophes are imminent, man. All right, but we'll read a little bit. It say the Doomsday Clock update says apocalypse is closer than ever. Yeah, man. I mean, shit. That's what the prophets have been set up to warn you people about. Matter of fact, you know what? We'll start with that. Okay, that's why we enjoy. We enjoy looking at that damn Doomsday Clock. All right, because this is a spiritually. We know that this place is poised for destruction, and the plagues, all right, that the Lord is hitting this place with, all right, is bringing about the end of this current earth age. Okay, this is not the only earth age, man. Okay, when you go into 2nd Ezra 6, it speaks about the end of the world, which goes into the end of an age. Okay, how Esau is the end of this particular age, and Jacob, all right, the Israelites are the beginning of the age that follows, which is going to be an age of righteousness on the planet Earth, spearheaded by Lord Yahweh Shah, man. See, but this is Jeremiah 28:8. It say, the prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesy both against many countries and against great kingdoms of war and of evil and of pestilence. And this is why, the people got a problem with the prophets, because, the prophets are designed to warn you and tell you of the coming catastrophes and calamities on the planet Earth, man. And whether you like it or not, all right, that's just what it is. The Lord set the men up, okay, because scriptures say where there is no vision, the people perish. So we ultimately have been set up to warn our people first and foremost that hopefully they can repent before this day of doom does happen, man. All right. Okay. Because as you can see, we're closer now than ever. This is the closest it's ever been to midnight, man. See that? It say humanity continues to move closer to catastrophe. Scientists said the human race is at its closest point yet to destroying itself, which we know the second death or destruction on this earth is going to be via thermonuclear fire. And that's going to be done by what? By means of World War III, man. So everything taking place right now with China, Russia, Ukraine, all right, those small hats over there in Israel, okay, Venezuela, the tensions all across the world, North Korea, these things are all designed for the Lord, gearing these nations up to fulfill, all right, the prophecies, man, which is ultimately that this place, America, is going to be destroyed by fire. Okay. It say the human race is at its closest point yet to destroying itself, according to the reset of the ominous but symbolic doomsday clock. The metaphorical clock now stands at 85 seconds to midnight after advancing 4 seconds since last year's reset. And again, another thing I just thought about, if they're being honest, they did mention AI, but if they're being honest, man, that devil Elon Musk went out and said that we're already in the singularity. And when you kind of research and look into the singularity, essentially it means that the rate at which AI advances technology, outpaces humans, meaning humans, are not able to keep up with the rate at which AI can improve itself, man. So, that alone will show you how much faster, and how much exponentially faster things will occur. You see? And this is why they already warning you that AI and automation and things are going to replace humans in the workforce, man. Okay? So, when you pay attention to every fucking thing that's happening, which is hard to do, it shows you you're like, it's only a matter of time, man. We seconds away from this devil already being destroyed, man. Literally, okay? All right, and also the Lord said he'd speed up the days, he'd shorten the days for the elect's sake. All right. Matter of fact, this is Job 14:4. It say, who can bring a clean thing out of an unclean? Not one. Okay, Esau's unclean, man. He's an abomination. All right. It say, seeing his days are determined, the number of his months are with thee. Thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass. See that? And there was an example when you read Daniel, the 5th chapter with King Belshazzar. King Belshazzar, all right, of the Medes. Okay, when you read through it and you get, down to the bottom, all right, it showed you the Lord sets bounds on these kings that he sets up. All right. And when you go into Daniel 5:24, say, then was the part of the hand sent from him, and this writing was written. And this is the writing that was written. Many tekel upharsin. This isn't the interpretation of the thing. Many, the Most High hath numbered thy kingdom and finished it. See, it say tekel, thou art weighed in the balances and art found wanting, which I believe goes into deficient or lacking. Okay. And we know the Lord deals with measures and weights. Once a measure, is filled, okay, the measure of wickedness on the earth has reached the heights of the heavens. And that's when the Lord rains judgment down, man. So it's no different for America. We're seeing the same thing. It say, thou art weighed in the balances and art found wanting or lacking or deficient. Perez, thy kingdom is divided and given to the Medes and Persians. So I think I misspoke, okay? But, King Belshazzar of the Babylonians, all right? I believe I said the Medes earlier, Salakia. But, his kingdom was divided, all right, and taken from him, man. Well, ultimately, the same thing is happening through the spirit with America, Babylon the Great. You have these nations like Russia and China that are looking to destroy this place and to be the next superpower. But who's going to be the next superpower on the planet Earth is going to be the Israelites, man. When you read that in the book of Daniel, all right, chapter 2, the saints of the Most High are going to take the kingdom and possess it forever and ever. So we witnessing the same thing playing out, but this is the last heathen rulership on the planet Earth, man. See that? This is the last one. So, the Lord has bounds, all right, specific, times where he makes this devil make moves, all right, so he can hurry up and get him out the way. That's why scriptures say the devil's come down to you having great wrath because he knows he had a short time, right? He knows he has a short time. We don't know what this devil may have seen. If the Lord was able to do this, had the hand appear on the wall and it wrote many tekel a parson, ultimately to signify the end of King Belshazzar, that their reign. Well, hey, who knows what this devil Esau has seen, man? They got sworn, they got opened up of portals and shit, So he knows his time is up. And because of that, he's coming down with great wrath on the people. And this is why you see the civil unrest, the chaos, the dollar collapse is imminent. Okay, the price of the precious metals, silver and gold, is skyrocketing, right? All of these are signs, telltale signs that this place is done for, man. All right, it's done. The clock is now the closest to midnight since its introduction in 1947. It's updated each year by the Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists, which organizes the assessment of how close we are to a self-inflicted end of humanity. Even, and we mentioned war, we mentioned a war, everything else, but it's like also AI. If dealing with the singularity, AI outpacing humans, they put it in their movies how AI would could bring the end of humanity and human civilization, man. Showing you Esau is just a self-destructive brat. This dude is a fucking, it's like you leave a crib to go on vacation and you lead you get the keys to your crib to a fucking toddler, man, a child. That's Esau. All right. That's Esau, man. Okay. But the beauty is that we are witnessing the end of this shit, man. And good riddance. All right. But I'm going to grab this and close out. Okay. Good riddance, man. Okay. This is 2nd Ezra 6. It's 2nd Ezra chapter 6 and 7. It say, then answered I and said, what shall be the parting asunder of the times? Or when shall be the end of the first and the beginning of it that followeth? He said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the hill of Esau. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. See that? So, Esau, is the end of this age, man. They got their own doomsday clock because they know how self-destructive they are. And they ultimately know, they understand prophecy to a certain degree, these elites. So they know that their end is nigh, is very, very nigh, man. And that's why they got to hurry up, move quick, start chipping people in the head, start making it mandatory because they're out of time. But with that, I'm going to close it. I'm going to give all praises to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shah, DTA Wababa Ball, Shalom.